Today we're going to check out Weapons on 4K Blu-ray. I'm not here to talk about how good or bad this movie is. I'm just going to share some of my thoughts on the audio and the video quality. Now let's go over a few tech specs. The movie was shot at 4.6K. It's got a 4K DI. It's rated R. Runtime is 128 minutes. Aspect ratio is 239:1, and the audio is in Dolby Atmos. Now, before we take a look at this audio and see how active this mix is, if you don't know what the Dolby Atmos object viewer is, you can find a link down below in this video's description that tells you all about it, what it does, and where you can get it. You can also find a list of all the gear that I use for these 4K reviews down there as well. All right, now jumping over to the Atmos viewer, we can see that around the 5-minute mark, we get the girl's voiceover clearly locked in the center channel. There's also a guy at a podium speaking to the crowd that tracks from the left side of the room slowly till it moves over to the right side of the room. It's not heavy on surround, but the space of this auditorium is faithfully captured through the surround channels. At around 20 minutes in, you can see that most of the speakers are engaged. This is supposed to sound like you're inside the cabin of the car. So in the background, you'll hear some very light road noise, and there's also some very light cabin pressure produced by the subwoofers. And this happens for the few times that we do get scenes that happens inside cars. It's subtle, but has a really cool effect. At 57 minutes in, we obviously have to have rain. In this part, it's meant to sound like rain is hitting the outside of the tent, so you'll hear it above your head and through the lower surrounds. Now, these were just a few notable moments with good surround activity. This is not a huge action movie, so there's not going to be things blowing up or a ton of gunshots. It's full of these really small moments that can engage all of your channels in subtle, yet aggressive ways. As for bass response, at 26 minutes 38 seconds, you'll feel this low pressure buildup that should vibrate your windows. If your subwoofers can reach low enough, this scene should sound pretty impressive. At 45 minutes, we get these deep tribal drum beats that totally bang hard as we see Wong running down the street. This plays in two different parts of the movie, and it bangs even harder the second time around. This movie does have some really impressive LFE that digs low for those with infrasonic capable subs and can hit crazy hard. And coming from F1 and Superman, which are both Warner titles, this one is definitely steps above. Well, 5 steps above if we're comparing it to F1.
What the fuck?
As for video quality, they did use film emulation to make this movie look like it was shot on film, so there is a light layer of grain throughout. I'd say it's light enough to keep the grain haters from complaining, and at the same time does remove that ultra-fine 4K detail that you can get by shooting on digital. It's still very detailed, but with a soft roll-off around edges. The color palette is subdued with a dark, gloomy aesthetic, which, of course, fits in well with the theme of the movie. So there are no flashy, colorful HDR vibrant scenes in this. It does have a max CLL of 164 and a max FALL of 42. Again, this is not going to impress anyone with its HDR brightness. And specular highlights aren't going to blow you away, though I didn't find anything was egregiously clipped in the brighter shots. The blacks were slightly elevated, which can give certain scenes a murky look that again goes back to the subdued, gloomy look and feel of the movie, which I'm sure was a creative choice. Overall, this was a fine looking transfer that perfectly conveyed the tone of this movie. I don't think it's going to wow anyone from a detail and HDR perspective, and I don't think anyone is really going to be disappointed either. I'm going to go with an 8.8 for video. Audio-wise, this was one of the best mixes that I've heard this year. It isn't full of discreetly placed objects floating in space with things blowing up, but it is full of great atmospheric effects that are subtle, and the musical score is both low-key eerie and over-the-top with killer bass response that absolutely slams. I'm going to go with a 9.7 for audio. So what are your thoughts on Weapons in 4K? Have you seen it, and did you like it better than Sinners? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. Now, if you do want to pick up this movie, I will leave some links for it down below in this video's description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you could follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content or great discounts on audio and video gear, then stop by our Patreon page. Be sure to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you again in the next video.